no!
Tragedy.
I have no beak and I must honk.
I'll have to honk a lot to get.
Hey, my roommate, 36. This is why everyone should have a goose. They are super loud. Like growing up in a rural area, I've known folks who had geese, and they're just like so many geese, so much honking, mighty honk. Ben and Michelle. Wait, you couldn't hear us?
Because
What?
oh my god, no one said anything, huh? I was just sitting here in silence.
No. So all those facts I was sharing.
It's because earlier the sorry about that. I've been just sitting here talking in silence. Because with the stream loading thing, it also is pulling my desktop audio, so I paused it. Yeah, they're on Discord, so when I introduced them earlier, they were saying things.
Oh no. Well, yes, we may sound like we're on radio, but at least you can hear us now. Hello, chat everyone.
Oh no.
Oh my.
I mean,
So, yeah.
you're gonna have to repeat a lot of titillating goose facts.
Bee facts. We talked about the waggle dance.
Well, that's true, and bee facts.
Uh-huh. All right. Shall I start with the topic?
I think so.
Okay. It was fun seeing you talk like you had voices in your head, says Cabacera. Oh my.
Yeah, that would have been nice. So in future, if I'm doing that, let me know.
Yeah. Okay, so in my effort to kind of tie our gaming to like history of science or other educational things, I came across a figure in the history of zoology who was very interested in geese, a fellow named Konrad Lorenz, who I did some researching on for today. So Lorenz's dates were 1903 to 1989. He was an Austrian zoologist, and in many ways, he was kind of one of the last of the 19th century naturalists. You know, kind of like Darwin and that group of folks who just spent a lot of time not necessarily performing kind of like strict, repeatable experiments, but just observing nature, observing the behaviors of wild animals and domesticated animals, and trying to make sense of what they saw. In this regard, like with Darwin, it helped that his parents were quite wealthy. He could keep as many animals as he wanted on their estate, with one historian actually described as, and I quote, a fantastical neo-Baroque mansion.
And I will say it again because I think it's extremely true and bears repeating. Everything is easier when your parents are rich.
And this is also true. So, yeah, and Lorenz was an interesting, influential character. He clearly cared about the environment and the welfare of animals, but he was not necessarily intrinsically just a good person. He was kind of like a mid-century David Attenborough figure. He wrote a lot of like popular reflections on science, but it was also like David Attenborough had a Nazi past to hide. Because Lorenz was...
Attenborough has a Nazi past?
No, if.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because in terms of like his cultural cachet, he was kind of like this popularizer of natural history as well. But, I should stress, no, David Attenborough, as far as I know, does not have a Nazi past to hide. Sorry, no confusion there. Lorenz, however, did. As an Austrian, he was drafted into the German army during the Second World War, and during that time, he did write eugenic papers in his early career. He also spent several years in a Soviet prison camp. After the war, he wrote a lot about his regrets, but he was also caught lying about his involvement with the Nazi Party, like many people who wanted to kind of like hide their connections to the Nazi to rehabilitate their reputations after the war. Oh, there we go. We blocked the boy in the phone booth.
A tip
There
from
we
Melly
go.
Said scare the boy into the phone booth.
There we go.
And I think he called his dad.
Oh, I see.
Oh, is that how I get into the TV?
Oh, this is really interesting. I didn't realize it was a puzzle game. I just thought it was a mayhem simulator.
Oh, you know what this is? This is a
Oh.
button.
Can you get in here? What can you do in here? Where are you?
Oh my god,
Button.
I'm on TV!
Push the button. There is only Goose.
There's only Goose.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, okay.
finally made it in. My computer has allowed me at long last. I love the art for this. It's so different.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah, Michelle hasn't been able to actually see the game until right now. So.
Yes, I've just been trusting you guys not to swear in the chat.
There we go. So yeah. So Lorenz actually won a Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1973 for his work on animal behavior, imprinting, bonding patterns, and whatnot. It was actually a prize he shared with Carl von Frisch, who was actually the one who discovered the bee waggle dance, how honeybees communicate to each other, where the good food is or the quality of the food after they've been foraging. They come back to the hive, and in the dark, right, you can't quite see, so they do this kind of like figure-8 dance where they very intensely wiggle in the middle of the figure-8 to kind of communicate that. And von Frisch was the one who first kind of observed and described that and theorized as to what was going on there. It was actually an interesting case of insect communication. Frisch was also really interesting because, one of the ways he survived the Second World War being quarter Jewish was because of his work on bees, because he was, kind of held by the Nazis. And there's been several books written about that. It was quite a dynamic experience. Oh, cool! You have the Harley Quinn face, Michelle. Good stuff.
I couldn't find a laugh. I got Harley Quinn. Yeah. You're allowed to attack people? That's amazing.
Goose aggression. And yeah, so one of Lorenz's favorite subjects was geese. And in fact, this was a passion that he developed from a young age when he was a child, reading a book called The Wonderful Adventures of Nils, which was published from 1906 to 1911 by the Swedish author Selma Lagerlöf, who was the first woman to actually receive a Nobel Prize in literature. And you see this a lot, right? People get really interested in doing science because of the popular culture surrounding the natural world or science or what have you. And in the series of stories, it's about a young boy, Nils, who likes to cause trouble and be mean to animals. So kind of again in the spirit of the Untitled Goose Game. He gets cursed by...
Yes, a young goose who likes to be mean to humans.
Yeah, and so in the story, Nils, he gets cursed by this gnome-like creature called a tomte in Swedish folklore, and is turned into a tomte as well. This shrinks him down in size, but also lets him talk to animals. And since the animals can talk to him, they let him know that he is being a jerk, and they want their revenge. So this is the revenge goose narrative. Nils only escapes by grabbing onto the family's domesticated goose, but then the domesticated goose sees a wild flock of geese flying overhead, and that goose decides to join them. So the whole series is partially based on this strange overhead journey around Sweden, from this tiny, diminutive, gnome-sized boy who's riding on the back of a goose and learns how to be a better person because of his adventures with the geese flock. Into Untitled Goose lore. So yeah. And so Lorenz spent a lot of the time thinking with and about geese, the relationship between their sociability, their life bonding, their hierarchies, and again, their noteworthy and incredible aggression. He writes in one of his works, there are few more aggressive birds than geese, specifically, and he kind of explored ways in which, how does that connect to the fact that they are also very social animals, that they are also animals that bond for life, how do all of these different instincts and drives in a goose and in geese population relate to each other, right? And so,
it's very interesting, but on the other hand, I'm now picturing the fact that he is an ex-Nazi trying to explain why aggression is okay, actually.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, like I say, not a problematic character. But that's the thing, right? Not excusing that fact of it. That's definitely a thing. But a lot of his popular writing kind of is in the context of the Cold War, right? Which I guess is new. All this old is new again, in that regard. Doesn't help that geese are mainly white. Oh my. This is Kevisera. But in the context of the Cold War, right? The question is what is human aggression, right? How do we not stop ourselves from destroying each other in mutually assured destruction? And so one of his more famous popular works that came out, the English translation in 1966 was just called On Aggression. But it is kind of interesting that the original translation, of the original version, which came out in 1963, was called Das sogenannte Böse, the Naturgeschichte der Aggression, which is actually called the so-called evil on the natural history of aggression. And in this regard, sorry?
Sorry, just me laughing at again the Nazi explaining why aggression is totes okay and good for society, actually.
Yeah, no, that is fair. Like, in the book,
I could talk about this for the whole episode. Sorry.
I mean, to be fair, it's hard to let go of. Perhaps one shouldn't let go of it, indeed. And I read this text in my first master's when we were talking about, the history of kind of zoology. But like on aggression, Lorenz makes a distinction between like aggression is an evolutionary behavior that is different from predation, right? Like specifically, aggression is intra-species specific. Aggression is how animals interact with others of their own kind, rather than say like a tiger eating a gazelle or something. That Lorenz wouldn't define that as aggression in terms of a animal behavior quality. And
that makes sense. One of those, interspecies versus intraspecies.
Yeah. So that's a big part of it. And he talks about all the different ways in which the different kind of what animals are more aggressive in nature, which animals aren't, how are they aggressive to each other, how are they not, why is it that ants can live in huge colonies, but like bobcats in too close proximity will have a very bad time with each other, right? So one of the things he talks about is aggression is actually, in terms of evolutionary theory, is how animals of the same species spread out in their environment. Probably doesn't include cannibalism, says Kevasera. Yeah, I don't know. But
somewhat aggressive.
Yeah. And and he points out that intra-species violence is seldom as intense or fatal as it is in other animals, as it is in humans, right? He talks about all these kind of mating competitions with rams and stags and all of those sorts of things. It is a kind of aggression, but it's often almost like ritualized aggression in the context of mating dynamics.
That is a good point. I used to think that they were trying to kill each other with the headbutting, and it turns out, nope.
Yeah, and it can happen, but it's not the normal outcome.
Right.
Of those kinds of things. The originally Lorenz in on aggression does point out that some animals do have certain similarities to humans' aggression. I think it's certain rat species will just, if they're not from their own individual family, they will murder the bejeebus out of each other. But it's actually relatively rare in terms of animal, all the comparative animal behavior, that you see the same kind of intra-species aggression that we see in humans. So a lot of his work has been challenged in recent years. I mean, some of this connects to evolutionary psychology, which is a very controversial kind of way of trying to explore and understand human behavior. But it was a big deal in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Though really one thing, while he wasn't really a super radical thinker in this regards, he was also very frank in his studies of same-sex animal mating and behavior patterns. In the 1960s, actually, and it's on aggression, he talks about it. He talks about the different ways in which geese form hierarchies and look after kind of their group. And he really got kind of attached to this mated pair of male geese named Max and Kopfschlitz in the 1960s. To saying that okay, sure, sometimes when they've been away, some of them, I forget if it was Max or Kopfschlitz, actually did have children, but then kept on pairing with the other one. And Lorenz makes this quite extensive argument about if you want to look at just how good they are at being a couple in goose society, he actually compared them to the Ubermensch, or this superhuman figure of the ideal kind of top of your hierarchy, the best for your group goose.
This is so much confused German philosophy in a blender.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And commenting on how queer pairings are more likely to occupy higher levels within the goose hierarchy of the colonies and stuff. Which apparently is actually super common. I didn't realize this until I started doing more research for today, but in Canada there's been a number of studies that show up to 30% of goose pairings are same sex, which is quite high.
Good for this guy for not being a Nazi about this thing in particular.
Little bar.
Bar super low.
He's still a bit weird. To be fair, he's still a bit weird about it if you actually read on aggression. But he is very like he doesn't hide the fact. But he has this weird aside where he talks about like the effeminate dandy kind of like homosexual or the Greek ideal of masculine yeah.
Achilles one.
Yeah. So he's not a real ally in that regard. But still commenting on it, and this was like super common, right? Like naturalists and natural historians who've been observing animal behavior in the wild for centuries have observed, same-sex pairings and matings, and they just they historically didn't tend to write about it, or if they did, in one case, for instance, what was his name? I forget. There was this one fellow you can look this up, who was studying penguins in Antarctica, and like just saw them get up to so many different kinds of things that scandalized him in like the 1910s. And so he wrote about it, but he only wrote about it in Greek. So only learned lives could see the penguin mating habits. So yeah, natural historians have been observing that for a long time. But yeah. So, yeah.
Hey, Aaron, quick question about the game.
Yeah.
How are you controlling the goose?
I'm controlling, the default is like you click on where you want to go. But I switched it to WASD because that's what I prefer.
Okay.
We got spacebar to honk.
Stuff.
So the little white button, that would normally be you would click and then your goose would follow it?
Yeah, so you would be going like this, and then right click is to pick something up.
Okay.
Like a cat with a laser pointer.
We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do this.
Oh.
No, go back in there. Go back in there.
Go.
Oh, I know it.
Oh. No. Oh, everyone's getting no goose signs. And just that like really long look at the sign, really long look at you.
That was passive aggressive of her, just like fills in a little bit more, looks at you.
Surely the more things I put in the garage, the more she'll go in there. There we go.
Yeah. So are you trying to trap her?
Yep, that was my new to do item. I think that unlocks the next area.
There you go. More goose crimes.
Or it was just a thing to do. I don't know.
Yeah. That's true, I guess. You don't need a reason.
Oh, there we go. Oh, because she had to cut.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying because then she had to go out the back door and open up the passageway.
Aha. That mailbox, like, is this set somewhere in Europe? Like, I'm not sure.
I think so, or Australia.
Okay.
It said something in the title screens about Victoria, like Victoria.
Everything's more dangerous in Australia.
That's true. I'll double check though.
It'd be interesting if it was set in Sweden because so much like the folklore and stories around, Swedish geese.
That is. But there's
the way the goose walks is killing me. The waddle.
Yeah.
Oh, see, this is the level I remember. I think. If I can find it.
Oh.
In Australia, didn't they lose a war to some birds?
Oh yes. Was it the Great Emu War?
Yeah, the emus. They just fired a machine gun into the emus and it did nothing.
Yeah, you can look that up. Yeah, just because of the weird way that they got around. Apparently, this was I'm literally just looking this up on Wikipedia, just so you know. The Emu War, also known as the Great Emu War, was a nuisance wildlife management military operation undertaken in Australia over the later part of 1932. The unsuccessful attempt to curb the population of emus. They employed armed soldiers with Lewis guns, or a kind of machine gun. Continue to cause crop destruction. And one of the funny things, right, like Wikipedia has a certain kind of like format for its military engagements, the ways that it describes military engagements. So like on the Wikipedia page, they have like participants, 20,000 emus, Sir George Pierce, Major G.P. Meredith, the Royal Australian Artillery, outcome, failure, see aftermath. Kind of encyclopedic write-up of it.
Weaponize the emus.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, I would agree with Marital Drop Brook. You should have a healthy. That's why it's a healthy fear of emus.
They are dinosaurs.
Oh, Melly wants you to attack the fence, Aaron.
Thank you. Is it this one or the other one, like in this direction? Because as you can tell, I am looking for the next level. I think it's in this.
Attack the fence.
Yeah, imagine going through military training for 4 years to fight birds. Oh god, and then losing. It would be so.
And then losing. Yeah. Despite
world wars.
Apparently, the farmers once again requested military assistance in 1934, 43, and 48, only to be turned down by the government. Like, we didn't want a repetition of that.
Cabacera wants to know if anyone got promoted in that war.
I think maybe demoted. I don't know.
I mean, if any of the humans died, someone would have had to step in.
That's true. In the 1950s, the army minister approved the release of 500,000 rounds of ammunition.
Oh, also, Shall I Have My Dwarf says the fence is the wood fence that you
Oh, there it is.
I found it. It was the Zelda-looking fence.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Billy. Hello, sir. Nothing to see here.
Hacker voice, we're in.
We're in. Alright, to do.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a lot to do.
That almost looks like Mr. Rogers' sweater shirt.
Oh, look who's not paying attention to me.
Oh, got a pipe and everything. Yeah, this doesn't look North American. Oh, he's gonna check it out. It's kind of interesting because the people are like aware of you, but also like kind of unconcerned.
They're just like, yeah, the goose is back.
Yeah, that glitter.
You got the pipe.
Set in a pot and pipe. Now you can impersonate a French philosopher.
I thought I saw something about the fancy rays.
Make someone break the fancy vase.
Oh, fancy vase, not fancy rays.
They have no eyes, but they know they're glaring.
Well, it's great use of body language, actually.
Yeah. Dramatic stage, kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
Later on, they have to cut the fancy rose.
She should be your friend. She's got a goose statue.
Yeah. No false idols.
I think I need to hide it further away, but I want to put the ribbon on.
Oh, I see.
Oh no, there was actually... Oh, this is a weird digression. There is a legal case about fake geese and putting ribbons on them.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's about authors' moral rights or creators' moral rights. There was a fellow in Toronto who came up with these flying geese. It was this flying geese statue, and for Christmas one year, the mall that they were housed in put these ribbons on them, and he actually sued them and won because they infringed upon his moral rights as an artist by putting this, I guess, extremely gaudy bows and ribbons on his immaculate goose statues. So there you go. It's the only time in Canada anyone has ever successfully sued on those grounds. Yeah.
What does that mean, moral right? Like in a legal context?
Well, it's very strange because, again, it's the only time anyone has ever successfully sued on those grounds, so it's actually really shaky what it means, and it's not well described in the legislation. But it's basically like your art has been tampered with publicly in a way that kind of detracts from the original spirit of it is like a very vague description.
Interesting. So when was that case, and when was this game released? Was it? Do you think it's actually like a reference to that, or is it just someone wants to put a bow on a goose?
I suspect it's just coincidental because it's some random layer of weird Canadian law, intellectual property law, which is also not the most popular kind of law to begin with.
Fair.
You know that is, I think, a hilarious legal joke.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, that fish has legs.
It's got legs. It has a bow or something as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Melly says, tell her when she's on the stone to press the thing that makes her grab things.
Oh, thank you. Let's try that.
On the stone with the
I
statue
think
goose?
what I've been trying to do here, yeah. I think that will make me pose. Okay.
She is quite adamant about this.
She is.
Kawasaki says the game came out in 2019, so it's possible.
Oh yeah, the moral rights thing was quite a while ago, so they would have known. They would have had the ability to technically know about it if they're intellectual property law nerds.
You know. Or goose nerds, I guess. This is a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh. So you're gonna try to. Oh, do you need the bow or no? Or is she gonna put the bow on you?
Because I'm posing.
Aha,
She's
there you
confused about it. She's like, why do I have two goose statues?
go. What's going on here?
Yeah, I didn't hide it well enough. Okay.
Oh no! Shoot away!
Again, very pointedly. I bet you know what she's painting? A no goose sign.
There's a theme.
Okay. Okay, this time we're gonna do it properly. We'll just do something really far away so I have lots of time to hide the goose statue.
Actually, there was a period there where like geese were quite popular in the media. Like, wasn't it Fly Away Home? As well, about the migration of geese. Remember that was it late 80s, early 90s film about.
Is that the one where the girl had to have the geese imprint on her, or her dad, and they had to teach them how to fly?
Yeah, and then they actually migrated south in a plane. It's interesting. Yeah, there was a big thing. Remember back in for those from that time, the late 80s, where there was a lot of environmental movies where the corporations were the bad guys.
Yeah,
That
like
was the time.
Gully and stuff.
Yeah, like Ferngully. Or Captain Planet, or the raccoons for some CanCon. Yeah, Fly Away Home. Yeah, Wildly Average. Yeah, Fly Away Home. Oh, so much goose duck media.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, you got the bow.
I got the
Oh,
bow.
no.
I'm beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Look at that.
I was actually confusing because I was thinking of this earlier today because I knew this was coming up, but I kept confusing Fly Away Home with the Mighty Ducks.
See, those are different things. Yeah.
But yeah, the goose/duck media, it was a thing for a while. You're right.
Yeah. I hear the new DuckTales is pretty good, but I haven't actually seen it myself. Goose Tales would be the gritty reboot.
You rewatched Mighty Ducks recently. I watched the first episode of the reboot of the Mighty Ducks, and it was not good.
Mirabella Dropbook says, Aaron and I listened to Disco Duck many a time in our youth. I'm not sure what that one is.
Way to call us out there. I remember it only when you say it. Yeah.
And Shall I Have My Daughter says, and I am fascinated that Cake Eater is a real Minnesota insult? What is that? Oh, is that from, I haven't watched the Mighty Ducks.
That just makes me think of in the
I remember the animated version of it, which was more actually like duck people, but I know that was quite different than the hockey, the live action one. Is she putting a purple vase there? Purple vase, ooh.
It's unclear what she's doing. She was peeking into this guy's yard.
Let them eat cake, says shall I have my dwarf. For rich people, cake eater. Make the man go barefoot.
No, don't take my bow. Don't take my bow.
You'll take the, oh no! Oh no! You can't steal what I've rightfully taken.
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
Mm-hmm. Oh my. Yeah. But yeah, I guess just to kind of like wrap up the Lorenz thoughts, one of the points he was trying to make with on aggression was also though how just like it's the intensity of like emotions and drives, and in some cases the most kind of like aggressive animals are also the ones that have the most intense like pair bondings and other kind of like rituals, and that a lot of social rituals are kind of sublimated aggression in a variety of ways, which has been in some media. I know. He's quite a jerkface director. Firefly. The Firefly movie kind of touched on that. Joss Whedon, yeah, the Firefly movie touched on that a little bit. Where like if you take away kind of like, you know, the intensity of someone's drive, they just kind of become inert or ridiculously aggressive. Yeah, so I don't know, like it's been a while since I've sat down and read on aggression from start to finish. But kind of part of the point was trying to make like, yeah, like aggression does have an evolutionary like purpose, but humans, because of technology, like our aggression vastly outpaces our like capacity to actually harm each other, and that's a problem. Which you see that I even think like Carl Sagan and folks have mentioned that before too as a thing, right? Like,
yeah, there was this evolutionary habit that was fine, and then we invented machine guns, and it doesn't work so great anymore.
Yeah. And Lorenz talks about even like the first early hominids to like hit each other with sticks and accidentally like do serious harm, rather than just kind of like, you know, you punch someone and you feel kind of better about it, and that's just, yeah, it's still a very particular like view on human society and what animals and nature and instincts are. But
right, and when you punch someone, you have to risk breaking your hand to do it, right? Like
yeah.
More of a cost.
Yeah. Commissary, yes, yeah, the fish has legs.
Are we trying to steal both of his slippers?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have to get him to cross his legs the other way somehow.
Oh.
I also put the clippers next to this tempting rose in case that does anything.
Oh.
So I feel like that's like an achievement or something.
Yeah. Do the washing. That seems benign.
I feel like we steal her clothes and put them in this pond with some soap.
Yes, you have to read the instructions in the most evil way possible. That's how we play the Goose Game.
Yeah. We need all 3 of these. Oh, and 1 slipper.
Uh-oh.
But I assume if we put their possessions in the alternate things. Oh no, because he gave the ribbon back.
Oh yeah, the ribbon's down there, yeah.
Just a goose.
There you go.
There I go.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Push.
Hey, while we're here, a gaming question / a Discord question for you, Ben.
Questions.
Make the man throw the fancy vase over the
that's how he was returning stuff, so we'll just put it. Aha. Played yourself, lady. Oh, better return it. Better return it.
Oh, no, that's not the right way.
Thank you. Oh, this is great with people helping.
There we go.
Oh, why do you have your neighbor's straw in your pond? That's kind of weird.
Uh-oh. That is a rule that was said melodrama.
Paintbrush? Don't mind if I do.
Oh. But
Who's from the over fence and then is like confused or surprised when it breaks?
yeah, I mean, you know, to be fair, I could see myself and folks I know doing that sometimes.
Okay.
I definitely remember once I was in the bath with the shampoo and it got stuck, and I like looked right up to my eye and like squeezed it. It was stuck. Just all over my face. So I wouldn't put it past me.
Okay, the old man is Ben. Um,
Indeed.
So my question is about Discord and multiple servers on Discord, because I realized that you have a different name for your professional use of Discord and your not professional, your gaming use of Discord. And I just have my D&D handle that I now realize I've been speaking to all the professional librarians from Atlantic Canada with.
To be fair, the DPLA mentorship thing is pretty chill. But if you actually right-click on your name on the right in that channel, and go to change nickname.
Okay.
So all the way down the middle, change nickname, and then you can change your nickname.
So gamer tip, you can have multiple different nicknames as long as you're on different servers in Discord. Is that what I'm getting?
Yep. So if you probably message someone, I think it shows up as your base name, but like for like chatting in the group chat, it's
Excellent. Learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my, that's the other goose facts. I mean, they are, they're migratory patterns. Let's see, the super widespread, natural history of geese.
Do you just have a list of goose facts in front of you, Ben?
A list of goose facts is in my head right now, actually, outside of the history stuff.
Okay. Goose fact. Geese are mean.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
We were talking to some of the other librarians, and a non-trivial number of us were like menaced by large waterfowl when we were children.
What does geese taste like? Library question. In my experience, they're like a very fatty bird, very much like a duck.
At the beach once threatened to call the cops on you when you were quacking at geese? That's rude. Maribel drop book. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Like a duck with more meat.
Oh, interesting. And now I'm looking up goose facts. Apparently, according to the Open Sanctuary, Animal Sanctuary, geese can actually see UV light.
They can see what? Sorry.
UV, ultraviolet light.
Interesting.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. And they can sleep with one eye open. They can do the dolphin thing where they because they're flying, they can sleep with let half their brain rest and keep on moving, and let their other half of their brain rest. Which also kind of seems like a perk, considering how tired I can be.
My mom has told me that you can actually do that as a human in very difficult circumstances. She used to have to do those long marches in the military, and she insists that if you put your hand on the person in front of you's shoulder, you can go to sleep and keep walking.
Wow, that's fascinating and terrifying at the same time. Maribel Dropbook says seals do that as well, and Melly wants you to know that you can get thrown over the fence.
Oh, what if I'm holding something? I would love to get thrown over the fence. Oh no.
You might be about to get thrown over the fence. Can you fly in this game, or are you ground?
You can do this.
Oh, okay.
That's the most.
Very intimidating.
Oh, she keeps getting her laundry back faster than I can steal it.
According to this Open Sanctuary site, they say goslings or baby geese actually start communicating with their parents while they're still in their eggs.
What? How?
Just through basic basic I don't know, motion.
Morse code?
Yeah. It has a list of sources. Let's see. Have birds sleep, bird's eye view, heart rate.
Oh, but gosh, there's Siri.
There she is.
Haha. There we have her.
She's like, please stop talking to people that aren't me. Yeah, you can just get comfortable. I'm not in the middle of anything. There you go.
All this emphasis on goose mischief. What about cat mischief?
Cat mischief. She too would like to cause problems on purpose, I'm sure. Oh, this one's hard. Let's see, what else can I do? What else can I mess with? I feel like I won't solve any more problems in 5 minutes, but what else can I break of this lady's?
Can you poop all over the place? In my experience, that's a big problem.
Yeah,
That's a big goose problem, yeah.
No, that is a big goose problem.
If I went to MacArthur Island on Sunday, there we go. And if you go to MacArthur Island a lot, you know there's tons of geese who live there. And I was gonna lie down on the grass, and then I decided not to. For some reasons.
Yeah. Understandable.
We've got advice in the chat. You can only use the man's clothes for dressing up the bust.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard because you have to get everything through the fence, and she keeps fixing her fence like a good neighbor. I wonder if, I don't know if anyone's played the two-person game. I haven't yet. Is it the same levels, but you have 2 people doing it? Are they their own special levels?
I can see how it would really change the dynamics of the game if there were two geese on the loose.
Because it would be much easier to distract someone. Same levels. Oh, that's great. Next time, definitely want someone. Okay, so throw this frog statue over, and I'm gonna hold on to it, and I'll see if I go with it.
Oh, does he make you let go?
Yeah.
Aww.
I just love his little, like, grumpy. I'm just trying to drink my coffee look.
Oh, there we go. That's why he thought the vase wouldn't break, because the other things are indestructible.
Mm.
And then making our European or Australian point, we got a cricket bat over here.
Oh, yeah.
So, there you go. This is
Cricket.
fun.
Is cricket big in Australia too?
I think
I know it's big in India.
I think so, but I don't know for sure.
I feel like it's big in the same places that soccer is big generally, which is the entire world except for the United States and Canada.
Okay. Crickets are big in Australia.
Yeah.
Think about the wheatta in New Zealand, which is like I think one of the largest and happiest insects, which kind of looks like a giant cricket, but it's like enormous.
How do you know it's one of the happiest insects?
Did I say happiest? I mean, I enjoy them, but I don't. That might have been
Not into happier.
one of the happiest, perhaps, is what I think I meant to say.
Yeah.
See, some of it's mischief, and some of it is just like, hey, you can interact and spin the wheel and things.
Yeah, just wee. I was hoping to steal it. Look, she fixed her vase. Look at that. Well, at least I got one sock to be missing.
Mm-hmm.
Can I help you?
Mm-hmm. Who are you looking at?
There's nothing to see here.
Oh my, goose chaos.
I do like the chaos element of this game. I mean, it's the whole game. It's not just the element of it, but it's just... Oh!
Yeah.
Break the vase to distract both of them. Is the
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, because they're busy yelling at each other about the vase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who has a giant bell in their backyard?
Oh my.
I'd be really annoyed if I lived next to
a horrible neighbor, that's who.
Yeah. Bloop.
I'll have to try the vase to distract both of them. If we do this one again.
Yeah. And I will try to find either goose or mischief facts.
Maybe, I think the goose is really just the lady deserves a bowl of fish rings the bell is right. I think that, like, I don't know if anyone watched Loki, but there was, like, alligator Loki. Like, just stick a headdress on this goose and it's just another Loki.
Mm-hmm.
It's causing problems.
Yeah. I remember parts of the internet were really in love with this game when it first came out because they're just talking about, like, we very rarely often get to just celebrate being kind of mischievous. And, like, it's not like it's super violent or anything. It is just, like, Gonna be a pain in the butt.
Yeah. I was gonna say
I like
goat simulators like that, but it is a little more violent because I think there's like rockets, and if you lick people, they just collapse in agony.
Yeah, Goat Simulator's its own thing with like physics breaking and vague body horror qualities.
I do enjoy that, like, in the TV show version of Loki, Loki gets to do actual mischief as opposed to, like, attempted genocide, which seemed a little bit farther than just
A bit
mischief.
much, yeah.
Oh, that's scam. Like, yeah.
Like in Thor, he literally tries to murder all of the other frost giants.
Yeah.
And then he Earth and like tries to murder a bunch, but like murder seems beyond mischief, is what I'm saying.
And then I think everyone started to really like Loki, so they're like, we should make, if people are gonna like him, we should make him actually likable. It went like in the reverse.
Yeah, not a consistent characterization.
Wilson.
Mm-hmm. But I think, like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to remember my Norse myths, like, I mean, Loki wasn't beyond doing some murders now and then, but...
Oh, he for sure murdered people, like, all of the time, but he's not in the Norse myths the god of mischief, which is what they decided to call him in the show. The show invented that, and if you're gonna invent that, maybe go with that.
And consistency in your chaos. Oh, well, we got one of his slippers. It seems like he can't retrieve it if it's in the water, or he doesn't try to retrieve it.
He can, because he keeps giving the ladies underwear back.
Oh.
So I've got some stuff, but I don't think I'm gonna do any more tasks.
No, you can't get his shoe, his last shoe.
Today, but
Alright.
maybe another time I'll look at the instructions. Or maybe if we can figure out if Melly wants to do 2-player.
Instructions when we've got Melly in the chat.
That's true. I understand the appeal of streaming puzzle games because you're like, hey chat, I'm stuck.
Crowdsource that, which is interesting too, right? Yeah.
That is the only way I would ever succeed at Majora's Mask, which I played for so long and then just eventually threw a controller straight through the wall.
Oh wow. Octodad says do Octodad? Or no, Octodad.
Octodad is the best also.
I know there's the dad dating simulator, but that's a different thing, I think.
Not if you have a polyamorous group of 8 dads.
Also true. Also true.
I don't know. I'm picturing Doc Octopus immediately as your dad.
You know.
Getting Over It is another fun puzzle game. What's Getting Over It?
That's infuriating. Like that I feel like that's a troll you caught them. Getting Over It is a game where it has very particular instructions where you're this guy in a pot with a hammer, and you have to like fling the hammer to get yourself over these like physical obstacles. But says Sarah. Yeah, no, it's kind of a rage game. Like it's hard, it's frustrating, but it sure is a game that someone could play.
And apparently Octodad is you're an octopus pretending to be a human. So that does sound great.
It's pretty amazing. And I have never played, Amy's right, I've never played Zelda.
No Zeldas at all?
No Zeldas at all. I've played the Zelda maps on Mario Kart.
Okay, I know.
Humorously, as Link is my favorite Mario Kart player. I don't know how to stream from anything other than PC, but that would be a fun thing to figure out.
Yeah, we have lots of options. We're always happy to have suggestions about what to play if we have it.
Oh my god, you should keep bringing Siri back. What a cutie pooper.
Yeah. I made myself bigger to show off the cat.
Yeah.
She's pretty cute.
We got the goose on the TV, now we got the cat on the TV.
Yeah.
Very photogenic.
Well, alright folks. That's our time.
Yeah.